Rain or shine, the Halifax Wanderers, well, they're simply just shining right now. Go out to Langley, British Columbia, the cross-country trip. Completely worthwhile. The Halifax Wanderers are bringing 3 points home with them. The Road Warriors, Halifax Wanderers, 2025, a new season where the Wanderers are excellent away from home. They beat Vancouver FC 2-0. Welcome to Match Night. Late night match night. Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson, Christian Jack with you. We'll break down the week that was in the Canadian Premier League. The 401 Derby played today. What happened between Toronto FC and CF Montreal. 1 year of Jesse Marsh. Where will Jonathan David go next? All of that and more upcoming over the next hour. But let's start things off with the scores this match week 7 in the Canadian Premier League. It started with a record-setting Tuesday school day fixture. Almost 18,000 at Hamilton Stadium. And they saw a good one as well. Forge 2, Atletico Ottawa 2. Valor with their first win of the season. Come from behind victory at that over York United on Friday night. And the Saturday double bill, Cavalry absolutely demolished Pacific. 4-0 was the final. And the game that you just watched, Halifax Wanderers 2, Vancouver 0. So here's the up-to-date Canadian Premier League table. Halifax Wanderers in second place. Little bit of a gap between Cavalry and Forge. Both those sides have a game in hand. Pacific are stuck on 7, but are going in the wrong direction. Reason for hope for Valor as they pick up their first win of the season. And York United, the style, the substance of this team, it's plain to see, but they're simply just not getting results as of right now. Let's start off with Vancouver FC 0, Halifax Wanderers 2. Let's start off with Halifax. Another away win for a side that just had won all of last season. Is this Halifax Wanderers team for real, KJ, based upon the fact that it might be pragmatic at times, but they're actually picking up points away from home?
Yeah, it's a completely different side. You know, a different side to anything that we've seen over the last few years with Halifax, because you alluded to it. Even when Patrice did really well with this team in his first year, 2 years ago, they didn't play that badly away from home, but they weren't winning games. Now they're winning games. You know, this is a way that the team is finding a way. You know, the first half wasn't necessarily a classic, a little bit of potential there for a penalty. Caligari on bar, certainly I'm sure Vancouver and Afshin Gopi would want that penalty there. But again, you know, this team comes alive late in games. You know, they find ways to score goals. This is obviously a rain delay here that obviously alluded to that, and as I said, it helped them, I think, in this as well.
Well, it was right after the delay, right after the restart.
And it also allowed Patrice Geisers to not make his changes until a little bit later in the game as well. But this is a great ball.
Well, so this was the first chance that happened right before the goal that he actually scored. Doesn't take his chance. Actually didn't even get a shot off. This is like 90 seconds later. It's a similar looking play, just coming from the other side of the field. Probo, great ball in behind to Telfer, and this time he learned his lesson.
Well, I think that was why I wanted to show it, because obviously he doesn't continue to on goal, he hits the ball, right? He doesn't have the pace at that moment. He just thinks, okay, I know that you're goal side, I'm going to have a strike this time, and I think that's why he did it. So yeah, well done. So no, to answer your question, are they for real? Well, look, the stats just tell us that, right? They're unbeaten away from home this season. They've won 3 away games in 4. Under Patrice, prior to this season, they'd won 3 away games in 28.
Crazy.
Prior to this season, in total, they'd won 8 away games in 66. So this is a completely different team, Jordan Wilson.
They are the most complete Halifax Wanderers team that they've ever been before. Look, all across the board, defensively, TMG, we can go on. They should sing songs about him in Halifax. Honestly, because the way he stabilized the back 4 or the back 3, he's just been a mainstay. And Patrice Geisers talked about last year getting a guy like that in, but he fits the bill perfectly. In the middle, Isaiah Johnson, and you're looking at Caligari. Rampersad still subbing into her game because of those two and how they play. I think the additions that they brought in, for me, they're actually a complete squad. I just want to see how they do when they face a little bit of injuries or when things don't go their way. But come on, quarter of the way through the season, they're the real deal.
Well, a couple defenders, Mekadesh and Julian Dunn, haven't really kick-started their seasons at all. Thiago Coimbra, really, that was goal number 2, the goal at the death for Coimbra. It's such an important piece. He has played very little football for Halifax as well. So there are telltale signs that this team is much better this season than they were, obviously, in a non-playoff year last year. Let's go back to Langley and check in with our very own Alex Gonje-Ruzik as he is in conversation with the match winner, Ryan Telfer.
Here with Ryan Telfer after a big result for your team away. Ryan, just take us through what this result means.
It means a lot after a difficult stretch against two top teams, and then to play a team that's been flying in their last results. It was pretty important for us to get back into the winning column, and happy with the effort the guys put in. Vancouver did not make it easy, but happy to get a result out of it.
It's never easy to deal with a lightning break or any sort of weather delay, but it seems like you guys came out energized after that break. What just kind of went down in the locker room, and what was kind of the message to the guys?
It wasn't much really, but just to focus on what we've been doing right before the lightning break. I believe it was positive during the second half before the lightning break, and it was just to keep that momentum going. It was a break for both teams, so we were expecting, obviously, Dave to do the same thing. So it was just a match on raise their intensity, and it worked out in the end.
And with your goal, there's a few moments where you guys started to get in behind after the break. Was that something that's targeted? Kind of take us through the goal.
Yeah, it was. The message was to obviously get in behind the back line. Had an earlier chance with the ball slipped in and messed it up, and I knew at the end of the day you'll probably get another couple chances, and it's just to take those chances when it came.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks.
Really good performance from Ryan Telfer last week. He missed a really good opportunity to open the scoring against Cavalry in that 3-0 loss. They lost back-to-back games at home without scoring a goal in the process. And I think we were looking at some bad habits last week as well. It didn't always look great for Halifax, but this was a professional response, and that's what I think we were looking for from this team this week.
That's what they needed to do. I think also, too, like, I don't know how you feel about this, KJ, but we're always flirting or talking about Telfer starts, Coimbra coming in, both of them scoring, both of them have 2. Last year, they both had 4. Like, if they can heat up collectively, that is putting Halifax in the position they need to be. But then also Telfer, right when you're saying, gotta play Coimbra, he goes and puts that one in. He just also likes Willoughby Park as well, because I remember him bagging a brace last year at that stadium. But those two just going at it, and you're looking at this Halifax side, like, if they can stay consistent, they'll be a force to be reckoned with.
You talked about it. I mean, the most complete team they've had. The depth is there. Every single time I see someone come on the field, they don't take 10, 15 minutes to get into the game.
Point.
They're coming on right away. They're making a big difference. I think about the changes they made at York that went on. Coimbra got the big goal there. They did it again today. So the level has been raised by the starters, and when they get the chance for other people to come in, they're taking their chances as well.
Not a poor performance by Vancouver. They just didn't really trouble Ryan Yesley, not enough in attack, but certainly you can see the progress that's being made. They had 2 weeks off heading into this game, perhaps a little bit of rust. We'll see them back in action Wednesday night in the Canadian Championship. Big match against Cavalry upcoming, which is a perfect transition because today was Cavalry 4, Pacific 0. We had some questions about Cavalry. It seems silly in retrospect because they never win in April. Like, Cavalry should just petition the Canadian Premier League to say, we're starting our season in May, because now they've rolled off 3 straight wins in a row. There's some questions about this team coming in, especially with early season absences and injuries, about what this team was all about. Center back, central midfield, namely, perhaps down that left-hand side. And it seems like now they're ticking all the boxes. Jordan, if some of these questions, are they slowly being answered by the Cavs?
I mean, I think when you look at their squad and the fact that we questioned in the beginning of the season what their back line would look like, and they play Halifax Wanderers away in Halifax, score 3, but the glaring stat is the nil. The fact that they held Halifax Wanderers to 0. And then Spruce Meadows as well, 4-0. Like, you can't really talk about this team defensively when they haven't had a goal scorer on them in 2 games. Lang stepped up. Montgomery is looking more like himself after he had a lapse against Vancouver FC a few weeks ago. Like, you're looking at the back line now. Tom Field playing left back. You know, when Camden comes back, there'll be a strong back 4. So I like what I see so far with Cavalry. Obviously, their big dogs need to be playing their best football for them to be the best team, the Moosies, the Orshevskis, the Camargo. But they pride themselves on being a defensive team. And if they can stay strong in that back 4, KJ, look out the rest of the CPL.
Yeah, I mean, all the great teams you defined, right, by greatness. Before I get into that, this is just one of the big moments of the day. We're going to get into Pacific in a second, but when you see what Marco Bustos is going through right now, it's a very difficult moment for him and that team. But to your point about Cavalry, who ended the game with a brilliant strike here as well from Varlington to put the cherry on the top. But I was saying that, you're defined by your moments during perseverance. right? You're defined by that. And this is a team, I think, that didn't start well. We all know it didn't start well. It couldn't score the goals in the earlier stages of the season. I thought we were really poor, and I think Tommy Wheeldon Jr. thinks this too. Against Vancouver, we did the game at least for 45 minutes, and they got out of jail. Wojciechowski, 95th minute with equaliser. And Tommy Wheeldon Jr. came off that going, we got to figure this out. And this was a time to look deep in the mirror. And it was good for the team that they had that then, because now they've suddenly hit their stride at a key time. They could have maybe played well during that time, but now they've reached a peak that already I think may have even surpassed their own expectations. To go out there and lay a 4-0 down on that team that could have been 6 or 7, that was a beating today. And I know we're going to get into Pacific and how really poor they were, but Cavalry played the part in that. They were dominant from the start. Both halves, they started really well. Tactically, they're really, really smart. Fraser Ed was excellent again. You mentioned Montgomery. Wojciechowski's just buzzing around the ball. Moosey's scoring goals. There's a lot to like. Shom's one of the best midfielders in the league. So there's tons there to like.
Real deal again.
Yeah.
I mean, Gutierrez out, Baldissimo out, the player that was brought in. Camden hasn't played. Kobza. Elva's not playing. Like, once they get some of these players back, look out. And by the way, 2 of the key contributors to the side that won the North Star Cup last season, Charlie Trafford, Dan Klump, were in attendance watching. Yeah. So there's been some great change, but this team is still outstanding and is going to be there right about the end. We can't move forward without discussing Pacific a little bit. Incredibly disappointing performance, outplayed from the get-go. They were delivered significant blow in terms of their personnel this week. ACL, Ronan Kratt, Juan Quintana, both out for the season. How does this team recover? Because James Merriman's talking about intensity. We're seeing a team play very passive, drop deep. They're not winning challenges. They're not getting forward in attack. You see the emotion of Marco Bustos after being taken off here. Like, where are the solutions going to come from, KJ?
Well, they've got to find them pretty quickly. They have to figure out how to get midfield back, and they got DePauli and Young hurt right now. And when you plan that midfield up and you suddenly go, okay, those 2 are out, the 2 players that you mentioned are out, that's not ideal. I'm not quite sure if they've got a solution at number 9. They didn't have a 9 again today with Hurd playing there. He's better on the wing, but they like him to be able to bring that, to try and stretch the opposition's defense, but there's just nothing there. Yeah. I think he had 7 touches in the first half. Changes were made pretty quickly. So, look, we went into great detail about this for 15 to 20 minutes post-game. If anyone needs to go back and watch that, they can as well. But quite frankly, it was an appalling performance. They know that. They need to be better. I think it's the worst Canadian Premier League performance we've seen this season, and it's not even close.
It's been pretty stale. I want to see a braver Pacific side, taking more risks, specifically on the attacking third. If you lose that way, you can live with that. But they cannot continue to play this way, which is just chasing shadows, being stale, the lack of intensity. Then your manager after is talking about the lack of intensity. We could see it, but then he's just saying, I don't know why these guys aren't playing, and putting it all out there. Oftentimes, too, you have a player like Quintana and Kratt. Both these guys are passionate players with a heart on their sleeve. You can see that. Usually when you have a season-ending injury like that to 2 of your teammates, the next week or the next match, that is a game almost for them, where you're putting your body on the line, where you're working and you're grinding. I just didn't see that response from Pacific. I'm hoping that changes, but the first quarter of the season is not enough for me.
Every team has a bad day at the office.
For sure.
This team last year scored 27 goals in 28 games. Not good enough. And sometimes it's about how, not that they played bad. It was how today. Work to do for James Merriman and Pacific FC. On Friday night, feel-good story for Valor. They come away with their first win of the season. The weather was horrendous. It was like -2 and rainy, and it just stunk. Then the team went down early. Gut check time, Jordan, because this was a desperate side heading into this game to try to get something positive started with their season.
Yeah, York United wanted the win, but Val FC were desperate for the win. And you thought in moments like these, Singh heads the ball and it hits Altabelli, hand in the box, and it's not called to be a pen. You're thinking, oh, this is just going to go the wrong way for Valor. Specifically in this situation where Yates does very well to start the counterattack. Egwu fouls him. Altabelli 1v1 with Rocco Romeo, gets a shot off. Bertard's active and puts it in. You think, okay, York United are up. But I love the resilience from Valor that they grew into this match. They were the better second half team. and they put 2 away, KJ, and just showed what they can do when they start believing in each other.
Yeah, it's been really difficult for Valor, right? There was a lot of expectations at the start of the season. A lot of people thought they would be better than they were.
Just one, I think.
No, I think it was more than you, but
Okay.
I think there's quite a few people who were excited about their changes, including signing this man, Chris Twadek from Ottawa, and that's the kind of thing you needed. I thought he was really good on the day. He carried the team at times. And sometimes you need those moments, Yeah, you need those moments, right? You can see, let's go. He's dragging the team out, and then you earn the right to get the right bounce sometimes. And look, York have not got the bounces at the moment. That should have been a goal from Hondel. And by the way, this was one of about 3 chances they had in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, they're pressing.
2-1's coming. It looked like it was not going to happen. And credit Antonoglu, who just puts it in the right place again. And as I said, you earn the right to get the right bounces. And Egu scores again like he did against Ottawa. So, look, this is a moment you could just tell with the Whitecaps coming on Tuesday as well, with the MLS team coming to Winnipeg for the first time. And without a win in the CPL, they really needed that momentum to carry into that, what is a tentpole moment for that franchise on Tuesday.
And who needed that performance? Egu as well. That is a bounce back from last week when you're playing Atletico Ottawa. They scored 5 on you. Of course, he scored, but it wasn't a great performance. It's one of those as a center back. You train all week, being humble, knowing that you need to respond. I thought he was excellent yesterday, but also getting that goal.
They needed to put a stop, Valor, to this early season slide. Last year, there was the excuse of basically putting a new team together, playing all of their games away from home as the surface was being replaced at Princess Auto Stadium. It had to come to an end now, and the timing, KJ, you nailed it. It's perfect. Ahead of the trip that the Vancouver Whitecaps are going to be paying to Winnipeg. It's the biggest game in club history, really. Testing themselves for the first time against an MLS side. Really quickly, I mean, York United can't be sleeping well tonight because the process looks okay. There's some really good moments, but at the end, another game, they score first and come away with nothing to show for it.
I think winning on the bounce, winning 2 in a row is huge in this league. They win the next 2, they're feeling like, okay, this is something we can bounce back from. But I think it's a bigger issue the way that they're losing in terms of scoring first, starting well. You look at their attack. There's a lot to like about York United, the way that they're playing. But you can't really say that with 4 points. No. So you're getting to the point when you play everyone, you have to win. That's just what it is. Even if it's an ugly win, you'll take it. So they have to find a way to flip that with their personnel. I think it has to be personnel. I think Elijah Adekube coming back was a big help, but there needs to be more players that are putting themselves out there, more voices that are lifting players up, because right now, I think too many heads are down.
The positive is they're scoring goals to putting themselves in those winning positions. They've got players there, Altabelli's flying, they're still scoring goals. The negative, Vitar's been excellent. The negative is that they're not holding those leads, and they've given up 14 points now from winning positions already, and we're only in the middle of May, which is a startling stat, right, when you think the all-time is only 22. So that's the area that I think Mario Eustáquio will be focusing on, set pieces as well. They just continue to give away goals.
It's curable, right? Like set pieces are curable.
Good stuff, guys. That's what happened this weekend in the Canadian Premier League.